not fun.
And what the heck was that?
It was a way to spend a Saturday.
A blank way to spend
it
a
was
Saturday.
it was a way. Now, I don't know what kind of way it was, but it was a way indeed. And
At least we didn't look forward all day to that game.
Yes.
Yes.
I was joking with you guys when we walked in, like, can you imagine if that was a 7:30 kickoff? How brutal this show would be right now.
Oh, God.
We still got a whole Saturday, especially
yeah.
people at home. Like, you got a whole Saturday
That's what's keeping the vibes up.
in front of you. And I'm sure we'll find a way to keep the vibes up.
Somehow we do.
Somehow on this show, we'll have a good time. But I want to start with a simple question.
I think I know what it is.
Can anything, and I mean anything, and maybe the answer is yes, be taken from that game and applied to the real Denver Broncos?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well,
in a very frustrating way.
Okay, interesting. I want to hear. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I see on Twitter is, so many people pumping the brakes. This is preseason. That it doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, the score doesn't matter. But then on the very flip side, I see a ton of people from all different levels saying, the Bills, this just shows you that they have the championship caliber depth. This is what a championship caliber team looks like. So I'm saying, wait. The Broncos are getting their behind whooped, and you're saying this doesn't matter. Yet on the flip side, you're also saying that this is what a championship depth of a team looks like from the Bills. And I'm going, well, then let's connect 2 and 2. You're saying the Broncos don't have championship depth right there. So if you want to say one thing, you got to connect it with the other.
But I want to know what you're saying.
I'm saying that the depth scares me.
Okay.
Now. Am I worried after this game about Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos first team offense going out and putting up points week 1 and throughout this season? Absolutely not. Am I worried about Pat Surtain and Justin Simmons locking things down in the secondary? Absolutely not. But Deshaun Williams was on the field today. Albert O was on the field today. You had Quinn Meinerz on the field today. You had other guys that are going to participate on this team out there on the field just getting absolutely whooped today.
Henry and I had a bet over what your take would be.
Who won?
That's a win for me. Let's go. I know my guy. I just said, I think Zach might say, you can tell the difference in the depth between the Bills and the Broncos, and you cannot deny that. Now, I'm much more on the side of, I don't think there's anything broad to be taken away from this game. I think you can look at individual players.
Okay.
So for me, while I agree with the fact that it's clear that the Bills' depth is better than the Broncos' depth, I think it is important to note that the depth was staggered against the Broncos, meaning 1s versus 2s, 2s versus 3s. And then at the end, it was 3s versus 3s or 3s and 4s versus 3s and 4s.
Second drive. Well, not for the defense. The Bills did keep their starting defense out there for, was it 2 drives or 3 drives? But the Bills' offense, they did keep some of their starters out there, but by the third drive, the starters were not there, and it was pretty much still against the Broncos' 2s at that point.
Yeah.
So it was a little staggered.
It was a little staggered. Even at that point, the Broncos were starting to work out. I mean, you lost Malik Reed. You just cross your fingers that that's nothing. Did Nathaniel Hackett say anything?
Mike Kliss talked to Malik Reed in the locker room and said he just got his eye poked and he's fine.
Because that's one of those ones where you're just like, it's his eye. Could be anything.
Yep.
So thank God for that. But it was just a little bit off until maybe the second half, you could say, and it was still ugly in the second half. So that's a problem. But for me, it's more let's look at individuals. The biggest takeaway for me is, what is Albert O doing in there in the fourth quarter?
And you know exactly what he's doing in there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and to me, it's I want to say no starters played. But Albert O is the number 1 tight end on the depth chart, and he's playing in the fourth quarter. And that tells you a couple things. 1, they're most certainly not confident in him right now.
Mm-hmm.
2, I don't want to use the word punishment, but they're essentially saying, buddy, you're going to play until you learn how to block.
Yep. Exactly.
And 3, that's a problem. That's a problem. If you're starting tight end, you can't trust him to play tight end. You can trust him you can kind of trust him to play wide receiver. Kind of. You can't trust him to play tight end right now. That's a problem.
And that's a bigger problem because it doesn't just point at Albert O being an issue. It points to they don't have a guy at tight end. Yep. So it's not just that they don't trust Albert O. They don't trust Eric Salbert. They don't trust Eric Tomlinson. They certainly don't trust Greg Dulcich because, I mean, not a fault to him, but he's just not on the field. So they don't trust anyone to be their number one tight end where they can say, look, you're going to get the day off just like 20 of our other starters.
And I think it makes sense to say, like, okay, Albert, we need you to go get reps. It makes sense. Like, you got to teach him how to block. He's got to go out there, just work through it. But who are those reps against? Those are guys who are about to be cut, about to be out of the NFL. Some are headed up to the CFL. They think that he needs reps against those guys in the fourth quarter, that's actually good work for him. And I don't necessarily think they're wrong, but that is just it's not a good sign.
That's a big red flag for me.
Yes.
And it just it presents a big problem for Nathaniel Hackett and his staff, because you want the whole goal of this offense is to be multiple, right? You never want the defense to know what you're doing, and a lot of teams claim that's what they're trying to do. Like the Bills aren't trying to do that.
Nope.
They did run a decent amount today, and I think that was one of their focuses coming into the game is, hey, let's get our run game. You know, you can't really practice the run game that well in training camp, so let's run it a good bit. But when push comes to shove on Sundays, they're not trying to go into any week being like, let's go into every play trying to convince the team that we're running it and then pass it. The Broncos are going to be one of those teams. And Albert O is creating a massive problem for them in that area because if you want to keep him on there on a run play to keep, the sleight of hand or whatever you want to call
defense
it.
Honest
yes, if you want to keep them defense, you are risking the entire play being ruined by Albert O every time you do it.
Yeah.
And you're like fully aware of that and you're saying that's okay because we have to, or you're taking Albert O off when you want to run the ball, and then you're telegraphing run. And obviously you're going to mix in some, times where you throw the ball at Eric Saubert or Eric Tomlinson or whoever. But you're left with a catch-22 where both options are bad.
Yep.
You're risking the play being ruined by Albert, or you're risking telegraphing it, whatever you do. Or you just say, he's not our starting tight end, Eric Saubert is, and we'll take less of a passing threat for the ability to, keep the defense honest.
Did the tight ends in any way change your opinion throughout this game on how you view the depth chart?
Look at that athletic ability. Toe tapping in the back of the end zone. Eric Saubert, the only touchdown of the day.
Wait, you're also talking about the guy with the false start?
I didn't catch that. Could have been anyone.
One of the
Whole line
was
moved.
Pretty much more an important part of the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm still right where I was before, which is that any one of these guys could be in on any given play. I don't think there's really any order to it. It's like it's cool though, right? Like you get to run Tomlinson out there when you need Tomlinson, or Alberto when you need Alberto, but it does still give you the vibes of like a quarterback competition where you're saying like, oh yeah, one of these two is gonna pop. Look, you got these other, but you know that neither of them are actually like good quarterbacks. It's the same thing. You don't have a tight end.
Yeah. And that, so to me, that by far my biggest takeaway from the game is Alberto is creating a massive problem for them, and they're just they're essentially just like praying that practicing against lesser competition will somehow help Alberto learn to be multiple in his approach to the game, and I think they're living on a prayer.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, what do? Do you go to Eric Saubert, who is just average at everything that he does, but that's more than the other guys do? Do you bring Eric Tomlinson in? What do you do? And Ryan, you talked about run blocking, how Alberto can ruin that. You can't even run the opposite way.
No.
In terms of that, because we saw what happened last week. He can just give up
painful.
a block there. So that's a big takeaway and a concerning one.
Second one for me, I'll just read it straight off my notes. Schobert got a go-bert.
Oh, wow. With a go-gurt?
Yeah. Now, obviously, I was just trying to make a pun there. I don't necessarily mean you have to cut him. But I've entirely removed him from the part of my brain which is like, this guy's been good before. He could be good again. His thing that he does is tackle. Or he used to do. He wasn't tackling. No one was tackling anyone out there today.
No.
And he looked especially lost. I mean, there was no difference. We talk about Sternad or any of those, Barrington Wade, and I was brought back to that Browns game on Thursday Night Football watching this last year where it's just like linebackers are in the wrong place, boom, run is popped. And that's what it felt like regardless of who was out there today. So everyone gets minus marks from me. But I had Schobert in, whenever you sign a guy with a name, you always think like, oh, can he be that guy? And to me, maybe he needs a little more time to understand the defense, that sort of thing. But a lot of stopping the run is just instinct. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Put yourself in the right place to stop the run. And he never did that today. And the time that he did get there, he missed the tackle. And the other time he got close, it was a touchdown.
Okay, so then what about Alex, your single now? Alex Singleton, because he did diagnose a play really well on the Bills' first drive. He was right there and then just completely whiffed, which gave up, I believe, a 20-yard run for the Bills. It was gross, and like you said, it extends just beyond one guy. The inside linebackers were miserable today, as well as the defensive line. I mean, the defensive line did not help the linebackers out because the defensive line is letting guys pushing the offensive line was pushing the defense line 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. And then so not only then are offensive linemen up there to block the linebackers, but then you have defensive linemen being pushed into the linebackers. It was miserable. Yep. The Bills could have ran the ball easily for over 300 yards today if they wanted to. They had over 200 in the third quarter.
It was terrible to watch. I think my hot take from the day, the Broncos are adding a trench player from the Bills. On cut day, you're going to see the Broncos claim a backup lineman, claim a backup defensive lineman. Like, somebody is going to wind up because of this game coming to Denver. Because, the Broncos' depth just didn't hold up. And this is back-to-back weeks that's happened with the offensive line. The defensive line was solid last week, but they got pushed around so much. I mean, that first drive out of halftime, Bills go 80 yards and 10 plays for a touchdown.
One pass.
One of them was a pass and went for 12 yards. That's 9 runs for 78 yards, just back to back to back. And that is when you're starting to see more 3s on 3s and a little bit of balance that way. So it's tough to get too excited. You still see things like there's plays where you're like, oh, Henningsen got to the backfield quickly. But when everything's going so poorly, first of all, they can just cut the other way and it's fine. And secondly, it makes you wonder, was he supposed to go that way? Because there was a big hole over there. It's just so hard to say anybody did anything right because there were still just massive gaps all over the place.
Yeah. And I do want to just remind you, we are strictly speaking in the context of this game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally.
There's so much out there. I've got Chiefs fans trying to dunk on me in my mentions over this game. Oh, we're loving this. Or some guy posted let's ride, and it was a screenshot of his bet that he bet the Broncos under 9.5, and it's just right now is when you want a victory lap. That Jesus, the overreaction is frustrating, and it is funny to me how things change on game day. Now, I'm a fan. I get it. I've been there. I do this with the Buffs every week. I get it, but to go from oh God, this is going to be terrible, they're playing their ones versus our twos, to then just panic mode when it's actually terrible, just like you predicted, is bang your head on the wall type of stuff. We knew what this was going to look like. Now, I think it would be disingenuous to say the Bills ones came out and smoked the Broncos backups. They did do that. It was a short period of time, and that just set the whole thing in motion. But we knew it was going to be ugly. We didn't know it was going to be that ugly. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. What you do is you try to pick out the little things. And one thing that really was purely unacceptable to me, doesn't matter when, where, or how this happens, the execution at the end of the half was downright embarrassing.
From every level.
From every level. And I put the least amount of blame on Nathaniel Hackett because I think in that moment, you're well, let's see another play. Let's trust my guys to go make a play. You're definitely not expecting back-to-back offside. And that's just the first one from Benito. I actually said to Henry right away, I don't actually think he jumped offside. It was one of those things where they just threw the flag because he flinched. The second one from, was it Kongbo?
Yep.
Pure, one of those things where it's if they cut him right now, I wouldn't even be mad.
Leave him in Buffalo.
That's so unbelievably unacceptable to do that right after it just happened and give them a free play to connect there and then go score a touchdown. I'm sure Nathaniel Hackett wrote that down, though. It was he's going to think twice before he does that again, which is unfortunate because you want to have a coach who can trust his players. But in this specific instance, that's going to give him PTSD the next time that he's thinking about whether or not to do this, because they right there displayed how it can go so terribly wrong. And if you didn't catch it or you didn't remember, it was 3rd and 15 after the penalty, and it pushed them back to like the 45-ish.
Yep.
And
instead, it could have been 4th and 5.
Instead, it would have been 4th and 5, and they would have got the field goal unit out there. Nathaniel Hackett elects to take the penalty to essentially push them at least to the very edge of field goal range. Then Nick Benito jumps offside of the first one. Kongbo jumps offside on the second one, and that's a free play. Case Keenum lobs it in there to Khalil Shakir, gets it inside the 10-yard line. 1 or 2 plays later, they score a touchdown. And it's like you went from having 3 on the board to thinking you could push it to 0 to ending up giving up 7. If that was a close game in a regular season like that, you could have just lost the game on that sequence. And again, it wasn't a close game and it wasn't a real game. But it's one of those things that's just like, that is bad football, and it's something that I hope we didn't see the Broncos sideline. I hope Nathaniel Hackett was yelling at people.
So what do you think of the decision in a regular season game for Hackett to take the penalty? Should he?
Who's the quarterback?
He not? It's the same thing. Let's say the Broncos are playing another elite quarterback. So it's Josh Allen or it's Patrick Mahomes.
So
he was elite today.
If they're
He sure was.
they're playing Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, you decline the penalty. Or no, you decline the penalty and you take the field goal.
And if it's Case Keenum,
in a regular season game against your ones, you should accept the penalty.
That is 21-6 though. Like you're letting him go up 24-6.
So that makes it an 18-point game.
Yeah, with the margin that wide, I consider saying like, yeah, we need the defense to make a play. But
24-6, you're still in the game.
Yeah, I'm probably with. Giving him those 3 points is massive.
I mean, but the thing is, especially if it's Mahomes or Allen on the field, or even Derek Carr or Justin Herbert, they're going to get the 5 yards.
Right.
That gets them back into field goal range.
Really, any quarterback.
That is true.
Most quarterbacks should.
Yeah. And so that's the thing for me. I bet, I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett said this after the game. I bet what he would say is just like, it's just more plays, more reps. Like, I just wanted to see the guys play more.
Yeah. Yep. So it is a little different now.
And it is a little different. But that's the thing is, if it pushed you from, let's say, the 40 to the opposite 45, or I guess it would have been to the 50 in a 10-yard penalty scenario, then I'm saying, like, that makes sense to take it regardless, because now they're out of field goal range, and they essentially have to get 10 yards to get back in. But in that scenario, it pushed it back to the 45, so that's a 62-yard field goal. What's really going to happen is they're going to take their 5 yards as 5 to 7 yards. They're going to get up to a 55-yard field goal or less, and most NFL kickers are going to make that.
Yeah, you're right, and I really hope that was the reasoning for Hackett today, was just to see more plays, and I hope that the starting defense, you're not having Randy Gregory or Bradley Chubb jump off sides on back-to-back plays, because that, like you said, Ryan, that is the most inexcusable part, is the players not being able to protect a 3rd and 15 situation.
I just looked, it was actually 3rd and 20.
Third
and 10 to 3rd and 20 was the penalty.
Yikes.
Then to 3rd and 15. That's...
And it just felt like any time that the Bills had a little slip up, the Broncos were there just to be like, oh, you know what, you're so good anyways, we'll just give you another opportunity at this. In fact, at I believe the end of the 3rd quarter, the Bills had 2 third downs that they faced. 2. They were just tearing up the Broncos.
Yeah, and it shows you how important the run game can be in the NFL. If I can spin zone this to a good thing for the Broncos, I think they're poised to have the best run game in the AFC West. Okay. And that game right there shows you how valuable it is.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you have to start coming up to stop the run, Case Keenum starts running play action and carving you. And that also gave me PTSD to when we talked about how good Case Keenum was off of play action and the Broncos never ran it. So that's the thing, is you open up the middle of the field immediately as soon as you can run the ball. And you watch the Broncos in training camp in the preseason, but mostly with Russ in training camp. The number one pass that has hurt the defense in this training camp is the over route. And as soon as defense is worried about the run and they start taking a step forward on your play action fakes, the over route is deadly because there's just no one sinking back into those zones to block, to stop that pass. So it's just a reminder to me today that, like, if you can get a team on their heels in the run game, you own the game.
Yep.
It's yours for the taking. All you got to do is execute throws and finish drives.
And for really quick, for the first part, same for the opposite. If you're able to make a team one-dimensional and force them to pass, yes, Josh Allen will be able to beat you occasionally. Patrick Mahomes will be able to beat you occasionally. But if they're balanced, oh gosh, good luck stopping those quarterbacks. Your chance is making them throw 60 times. And not saying that they're not going to beat you, but you have a shot to beat them then.
I mean, the Broncos defense's head was just spinning today.
Yep.
Yeah.
All around.
My head spin.
And I mean, credit to, is it Ken Dorsey, who's the new offensive play caller there in Buffalo? I believe so. I mean, anything the Broncos wanted to do, they had such a counter for it. It's like, okay, they're coming with play action, getting some stuff down the field, so let's play off a little bit. Now they're just running easy little slants and hooks and curls. It was just like, there's nothing they could do. There's just nothing they could do to get a stop.
Yep.
And you mentioned, like, the Broncos giving gifts. Even the one time they got them to punt today, I'm 99% sure they roughed the punter, and the refs were just like, you know what, we're not going to do this.
I didn't see that. They hit him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they hit him.
He went down.
No. Oh, no.
Just to put things in perspective, at halftime, the Bills had completed 19 of 21 passes for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I looked at Hank at one point in the second quarter, and I said, has there been an incomplete pass? And he's like, yeah, one.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah. It's like, it was a good play.
There was one. The next one was a throwaway. It was just a broken play where Case Keenum scrambled out and threw it away.
That's crazy, though. Those numbers.
Yep.
And, we talked a lot about, like, the problems in the trenches and the linebackers and all that. But, I mean, Michael Ojemudia got beat pretty ugly a couple of times before he got hurt. Dislocated elbow, we just found out. Another one.
Dr. RK called that one right after the play.
Dr. RK did.
So that's 2 dislocations, right? And then there was a third dislocation really quick, Hank. Casey Tucker dislocated his right toe, his right big toe, according to Mike Kliss.
Ow.
Casey Tucker described it as a unicorn sticking up.
Oh, that's
Tucker,
terrible.
That's a bummer. Or, I mean, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because now you're not going to play. It'll probably end up being a injury settlement type of thing.
Yep. Probably an easy one for the Broncos to make a decision on this Tuesday.
But that secondary, I mean, Isang Bassey's getting picked apart. Damari Mathis gave up that touchdown.
Can you think of I can think of one play where Caden Stearns came and made like a nice tackle before it turned into a big gain. But even then, like, the safeties weren't involved at all.
It's tough to think of
or
good plays from the secondary.
But it was making tackles all the way down the field.
Yep.
Tough to think of good plays from the secondary when there are 3 incomplete passes in the game.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. And let's dive in because I think we need to focus more on the individual players potentially.
Yeah, sure.
So let's dive in, but first got to tell you about Breckenridge Beer because boy, I know there's some people in Denver right around noon cracking open Breck beers after Josh Allen drives down, then Case Keenum drives down for a touchdown, and you're like, okay, they're eventually going to stop him, and they don't. So then the Breck brews get flowing, and you can keep them flowing all day today. Man, what a perfect strawberry sky day. In Buffalo, too. It had 82 degrees and sunny. It was nice there. Beautiful here, and Breckenridge Brewery is the place to go to get your beers. And even if you're not in Denver, you got to check out breckbrew.com to find their Breck beer locator, and you can have those out in Buffalo or wherever you are. So get yourself some today.
Also, go ahead.
Okay. And sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook. It was up at the top. It's a presenting sponsor, and then it had the read, and so I clicked. So sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook.
Preseason for everyone.
But also go to the rugby tournament. You've got one more day probably to get out there and watch. No, it goes
going
tomorrow.
on as we speak.
Yeah, it's going on now. You've got one more day. It keeps going tomorrow, and I guess maybe there's games tonight. I saw today that the U.S. Air Force was playing the U.S. Army in a game in that tournament. There's all sorts of different teams from all around the world. Yeah, I'd imagine that one got a little heated. But $10,000 on the line. It's a big prize. And if you go over to their website, which is AmericanRaptors.com. You can get free tickets to those games. You can also get tickets to this Rugby Town Sevens tournament.
Also, check out DNVR. Go to thednvr.com to read the analysis from this game. Henry told me he's already got his 3 takeaways ready to go.
Yeah.
Also got game grades coming tomorrow. That one's going to be an interesting read.
Yikes.
We'll dive into a little bit of that here in the second segment. But also, sign up for the golf tournament. We extended the deadline. Saw a couple of you sign up last night after we extended it. So you still have a little bit more time to sign up for Raccoon Creek, which is going to be an absolute blast. I really love Raccoon Creek as just a golf course, but I love it even more as a scramble course. Maybe my favorite scramble course I've ever played, because there's like a lot of drivable par 4s, stuff like that, where you can get really aggressive and go super low. So sign up, come hang out. Should be an absolute blast. Wait, before we get into the second segment, these are the conversations that happen in a 42-9 blowout.
15.
At the time, it was 42-9 when we had this question. Henry and I were wondering how many Zac Stevens would need to be on the field to do a better job stopping the run than the Broncos did.
Wow, to do a better job. So they've got 11 guys out there. Although you tweeted that it looked like they had 10, right?
Yeah.
The whole game, which was very true.
I think that was actually generous.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got to be double.
I said the conversation starts at 22.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And then I'll throw a couple more out there.
All right, 25?
Yeah.
What's like the alignment? You just put like a dozen across like the line of scrimmage and just say like, okay, you guys just go forward, see what you can do.
Yeah,
if you go down, bring someone with.
I'm thinking some on all fours to like help people trip over them. And then that kind of causes a mayhem in the middle.
The thing is, like, you don't want to be too close together, because if you put 3 guys in one area, one offensive lineman can just bowl them over. So I think you're putting half of the lineup just spread out across the line of scrimmage, but like spread out by like more than an arm's length.
Okay. And then are you doing the same thing on the second line?
Oh,
so this is where I'm actually setting up teams of 3 at the second level. The idea being 2 just kind of like work as a springboard to the guy in the back. Okay. So they're kind of like springing somebody forward before those 2 charge themselves.
It sounds like gymnastics. Like we're gonna be tossing people over.
We have to be kind of revolutionary here.
Yep.
I think you could do it with 22.
Okay, there we go. 22 Zac Stevens.
You heard of 22 Janos? How about 22 Zios?
Oh man, 22 Janos would have definitely got the job done today.
Yes.
Kind of felt like they had 22 Janos.
It did feel that way.
22 Zios. Interesting.
All right, let's go through some players here. I don't even think you can say most notable from the game, but most notable players who played. And I got to be honest, on the defensive end, it is brutal. All the players that you had, some good taste in your mouth after last week's game is all gone. Baron Browning, where were you?
Honestly, that was besides understanding he was going to play today, that's the first time I've thought of his name.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Nick Benito.
Yeah.
Jumping offside. I mean, he had I would say maybe a pressure at one point.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Broncos had 1 quarterback hit in the game.
Wow, that is really bad.
Jonathan Harris on Matt Barkley.
And also, Nick Benito just got totally eaten up in a few running plays. And it's not surprising, but that is something where the coaches are just going to say, okay, just like Alberto being one-dimensional, I think Nick Benito is going to be completely one-dimensional, where he's only on there on third downs and situational times, because you're also going to want Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory on the field in those passing situations as well.
And you brought up Jonathan Harris. I didn't realize he had the quarterback hit, but he was one who I vividly remember a horrible play from. Remember, it was the one we were talking about where it's like, how did you never separate from a blocker? Was that on the Josh Allen touchdown?
Josh Allen touchdown.
Because he steps forward, steps over, and there's so many of those during that first drive and early on the game overall, but just standing back there for 4 or 5 seconds and none of these guys are getting anywhere close.
Yeah, just watching those offensive linemen on that touchdown just keep shucking the 2 edge rushers who are just like trying to do anything to get to Josh Allen. And obviously it's difficult to get to Josh Allen, but it's like someone just disengage and make him run.
Yep.
That's disappointing. I guess we can just go through the roster, or I can ask you guys, did anyone stand out positively on the defensive side of the ball?
On the defensive side of the ball,
Bless Austin looked big.
he got beat.
Yep.
Oh no, didn't
actually
look good,
looked
but he
big.
looked like big out there.
Okay,
I didn't notice one, like that's a big guy.
Justin Sternad had a couple good plays in the passing game, but that's one of those things where it's like, well, we know you have that.
Man, so I wrote standouts, a special teams player, which we'll get to in a little bit, and then 5 offensive guys. That's it.
I don't think. I mean, when you give up, was it 6 straight?
6
Yeah.
for 6 to
Yeah,
start.
6 touchdowns on 6 drives. Which, by the way, the Bills did that to the Patriots in the playoffs.
Wow.
They went 7 for 7 to start that game,
Wow.
which is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that was with Josh Allen. When you give up 6 touchdowns on 6 drives, I just don't think you can do it. When there's 3 incomplete passes, no one in the secondary was positive. When the team runs for over 200 yards rushing, I don't think you can say anyone in the front 7 was a positive. And I'm talking about plays. I'm just looking for a play.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone had it.
No, I completely agree. And let's also not...
Caden Stearns, actually, I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
He had one play where he came up. I think he stopped a run for like 4 yards.
Yeah.
But then you bring the name up. It's like, well, what was it? First, second play of the game, third play of the game. You've got Devin Singletary running, and he makes 2 guys just fly right by him. Caden Stearns was the first there.
Yep. Yeah, and it just very disappointing. And also, when we're talking about the pass defense specifically, let's remember who they were going up against, because we all understood if Josh Allen was going to tear up the Broncos defense. Okay, understandable. Fine, we're not really going to blame him. Last week, Matt Barkley and Case Keenum against the Colts went 29 of 42 for 300 yards, so a lot of yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a combined 60 passer rating. What did those 2 do against the Broncos today? They absolutely tore them up. So these were against guys that did not do well last week. And last week doesn't encapsulate exactly who they are as players. But today, you had Case Keenum go 16 of 18, 192 yards, 1 touchdown, 129.6 passer rating. And Matt Barkley come in 7 for 8, lead a touchdown drive, 100.5 passer rating. And then, of course, we know Josh Allen was perfect.
How is his passer rating so low? Too short of passes?
Yeah, I think, and no touchdowns.
Okay.
And I think
that's the big
since
thing.
he had 8 passes, I think once you get to 8 passes, it docks you for not scoring. Or 6 passes or
Look
something.
At you
I think it's
knowing
something
the
like
formula.
that. I could be lying, but I think I heard that one time.
Yeah. So if anyone in the comments thinks we're missing someone that stood out positively on defense, please let us know, because I'm racking my brain right now.
Yeah.
Just going through name after name after name, and
It was just for one play.
yeah, one very good play, or even. I mean, there's like a couple like, oh, you made the tackle when you were supposed to.
Yeah.
But it was like down the field.
You know,
Yeah,
when things
yeah.
are comically bad, you think like it's going to turn around eventually and not be as comically bad anymore. Just like on Thursday during the
Yeah.
practice when the Broncos defense was killing the offense, I thought this is really fun, but it's going to end sometime and then it's not going to be as fun. And no, it just was that bad. And that's exactly what today was. It was just that bad. And also, not only would there have been a penalty, like you guys said, on the punt, but the Bills would have gone for it in a real game, or if it mattered. I mean, you saw, was it Case Keenum at that point still? He was telling Sean McDermott, let's go for it. It's only 1 yard. We're going to get it.
Sean
And
McDermott
Sean's
laughed at him.
Yeah, he's like, we got to send the punt. Was it the punt god that punted that one?
Nope. He got 0 punts.
No.
The number one thing I was looking forward to in this game did not happen. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the game couldn't have got worse.
Apparently, it's a punt competition.
If his nickname is Punt God, what do they have? What's better than a punt god?
I don't know, but I guess that gives us a chance.
Oh, wow.
Not to be confused with Matt Mock, former Broncos quarterback.
Oh,
Or
wow.
Mike.
Yes.
Hawk.
Yes.
Well-known commenter.
I guess that's the punting competition gives us a chance to segue into a facet of the game that actually did have standouts.
Yeah.
Which was special teams. I
Yeah.
guess we'll start with Corliss Waitman, who comes in. I mean, the day was off to a bad start.
I cannot
Because
believe
Brandon
this.
McManus and Sam Martin are playing catch. Now, I'd love to say they shouldn't be doing that, but if they can't do that,
Right.
they would die of boredom.
Right.
They're playing catch in warm-ups, and somehow Sam Martin turns his ankle, making
gotta
a
be
catch in the
kidding
end
me.
zone, as it was told.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's there's no better way to describe how the day went. Like, it starts with your punter spraining his ankle playing catch.
Yeah, and I didn't know exactly how he sprained it until midway through the game. But just like you had Pat McAfee last week when he saw Russell Wilson walk out in the Jesus all white, and he said, "I'm just smashing the Broncos on this game, even though Russ didn't play." That's when you smash the Bills, when your starting punter, rolls his ankle playing catch with the kicker before practice.
That being said, Corliss Waitman looked good. Looked definitely better than he did last week. I think he had a 41-yard punt, which isn't great, but no return on that. It was inside the 20. And then a 60-plus yard bomb with 5-2 hang time.
Was that one in the end zone?
Yes.
Was
that
that
one,
okay?
that one
So then
rolled
but it did. So it resulted in 43 net yards.
Yeah, which was a good punt.
Yeah, it was. And like you said, 5-second hang time.
Yep. Shout out to Mace for tracking punter hang time.
Yep.
I'm not even going to pretend like I would have done that or anyone else would have. Like,
I was going to say, anytime someone mentions it, we all know where he
yeah,
came from.
exactly.
Yep.
And also, I think it was James Palmer who broke the news of how Sam Martin got hurt. So yeah, I mean, I thought Corliss looked solid today, and I mean, who knows if there's a competition and Sam Martin can't participate in the competition for the next week or two, then maybe the competition's over.
Yeah, and like we saw with Drew Lock not being able to participate in the competition, if the other guy comes in and plays terrible, well, then maybe it helps. But Waitman did not come in and play terrible. He played better than he did last week, and we knew it was still a competition because on Thursday, Dwayne Stukes told us it was still a competition despite what happened last week.
Did you think that helped Drew Lock's case?
Yeah, because of how bad Geno Smith in that offense was.
It was really bad.
Interesting.
It was unbelievable against the Bears too. That's the other piece.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really good point. And now, don't you have to give Drew Lock the start this week?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, but I could totally see a football guy, head coach, being like, "Nope, we decided before the preseason it was Geno, Geno."
Yeah. Drew missed his
missed his chance.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's so dumb.
Like we're not changing the plans.
Right.
Other standouts, our king of the game. Let's go, DraftKings king of the game, Brandon McManus.
Yeah.
That's what we call perfection, folks.
Yeah, perfection. Something you never want to see your kicker get king of the game as the offensive MVP.
I don't think it's the first time this has happened
No,
either.
definitely not.
He's been dropping those kickoffs right at the one too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
Also, he does it with one step.
Wow.
What a leg. I wish I had a leg like that.
3 for 3, 9 points. MVP of the team today.
Yep.
Good job, B-Mac. Throw a helmet in celebration.
I was happy to see him hit a 50-plus yarder.
Yes.
Gain some confidence, I guess.
I mean,
I don't think he's lacking of
when
confidence.
you're looking for things like we are today that you can pull away as a positive. Yes, I think what was the total on that? 55 maybe?
50 something, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 52. Maybe it was 55.
Good for B-Mac. He is our king of the game. But while we're on special teams, the best unit other than field goal attempt today was kick return.
Yeah.
They were incredible.
Good job. And now, want to know something sad?
Yes.
All this means is that teams are just going to kick it out of the back of the end zone against the Broncos.
At least, though, the Broncos aren't going to be starting at the 21 and the 19 and the 18 like we consistently saw last year.
Yeah, I just think teams are like, okay, Montrell Washington's good, cool, we won't kick to him.
Yeah.
Now, punts are different. It's a lot harder to punt away from a guy, so he'll still get his opportunities there. But I assume, I mean, I'd set the over-under on kicks returned by Montrell Washington at home this year at 1.5.
Wow.
I'll take the over.
Okay, there we go. I love Montrell just with now I know this was on a punt return, I believe, right? A punt return when he blew someone up? No,
that was a
was
kick
that
return.
A kick return. Yeah. When he delivered the blow. I love seeing that. I didn't know he had that in his game. That was awesome.
He's surprised us in
Yeah.
every way possible this year, this preseason. Like, he's shown himself to be a very explosive returner. He's shown himself to be a legitimate passing option. He's shown that he has some toughness, some power to his game. So good for him, man. He's maybe, like, when all is said and done, I'll just say, like, he's the off-season MVP.
Wow.
I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
Wouldn't disagree because a guy that was fighting with him for that was Michael Ojemudia. And how far has he fallen since training camp started?
And that return, that was the one time that the cover or the blocking, I guess, wasn't just incredible for the Broncos. Because Montrell has 2 for 55. Jalen Virgil had 2 returns. Both of those go 30 yards. Mike Boone's return went 27 yards. Like, it was consistent that everybody was producing. Now, Montrell had to do more himself, but that was a really stellar performance.
Yeah, for sure. And then, shouts to Jalen Virgil and Mike Boone, who also had nice returns.
Yeah, both look really good. And I'd like to see Mike Boone in there because he's not going to be your guy, but you want to see what a backup can do if he ever needs to be in the game. Or let's say Montrell Washington takes on a KJ Handler role and really succeeds at it, where he's too valuable to have him return kicks. Then I like what I saw from Mike Boone. Obviously, probably not as much of a home run threat, but I like seeing him back there do that. And the only negative return was Trey Quinn, who fumbled the ball. It was good that he was able to get it back. Yeah, seriously. But then what I liked was he went down and had 2 big catches that drive.
He did. Yep. He did. All right. I think this segues us nicely into the offensive standouts, which at least there are some. And I think I would start with Jalen Virgil. Was especially when you combine his plays with the 2 nice returns he had, it felt like he was essentially making the most of all of his opportunities today.
Yeah, he certainly was. Now, you didn't get to see it until late in the game, which makes you kind of wonder, okay, how much does he have to do to get that spot? But this is the second game in a row where late in the game, Jalen Virgil comes in and it looks like he can play football really well.
Yeah, and maybe I jumped ahead of myself a little bit. The probably the best standout for the offense was Brett Rippon. 22 of 26, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, a 110 passer rating. Now, this is what I mean when I talk about people just like in the moment losing their minds in action. Like last week, it was so very clear that Josh Johnson was better than Brett Rippon.
Yeah.
And he's going against the 2s and Brett's going against the 3s. This week, you get Brett going the same exact scenario. Brett Rippon looks better than Josh Johnson. And everyone's like, Brett Rippon, QB2, done and dusted. And I'm like, what are we doing? Did we forget all last week entirely?
Right, exactly. So
I think people just want Brett Rippon to be a QB2 because he's younger.
Yep. Yeah. And more of an underdog story, I guess, at this point.
I mean, I like the guy who's played in 4 different leagues, 14 different teams.
Yeah, that's really true. Does this change with the way Brett and Josh played today, does it change your thought on what the Broncos are thinking of backup quarterback?
No.
I've never once thought that Brett Rippon was going to be QB2. I will say there is a chance if this exact scenario happens next week, I'd be willing to have the conversation.
Okay, so now do you start Brett next week to kind of give him more of a fair shot to prove himself against the 2s?
I don't think they're going to do that, no.
Okay, then I think it's over.
Maybe, but I think it might be over either way. Like, if he starts, I'm just saying, like, they don't want to get their backup quarterback hurt before the season.
Yeah, I think this thing's over. And I'm really happy for Brett. I think he certainly was going to probably make a practice squad at least somewhere. Yes. Now he's 100% going to. Could even be a 3rd quarterback on some team.
The Broncos will want him on the practice squad.
100%. It would be a mistake to keep him on the active roster, though.
Yeah, unless he's your backup.
Right, exactly.
And to be honest, I'll go back to what I tweeted out yesterday, which was an epic excerpt about Peyton Manning from Ron Jaworski's book. But it just goes into how much this backup quarterback, I don't care if it's Brett Rippon or Josh Johnson. Like, it's all the same to me.
They're on the field, it's bad.
It goes to this, which is, like I said, a quote from Ron Jaworski's book, The Game That Changed the Game. He's telling the story. He and John Gruden went to a Colts practice. Okay. So it was leading up to a Monday Night Football for the Colts.
Gotcha.
So he says, as we watched, we were surprised to see Manning taking virtually all the reps in the session. John Gruden asked Colts offensive coordinator Tom Moore why he wasn't giving some snaps to Peyton's backups. He looked us both in the eye, paused for a moment, and said in that gravelly voice of his, earmuffs for the kids. Fellas, if 18 goes down, we're fucked. And we don't practice fucked.
Oh, my gosh. That is incredible. And it's so true. Yeah. Tom Moore just speaking wisdom right there.
And that's my exact feeling. Now, I had people in my mentions being like, I also had some Broncos reporters subtweeting me. Saying things
it wasn't me.
Yeah, saying things like, well, it's not about if they go down for a long period of time. It's about if they go down for a short period of time. Do you have a guy who can help you go 1-2, or are you going to go 0-3? And it's like, in my opinion, that basically comes down to the defense. And then you've got people being like, well, Brock Osweiler saved Peyton Manning's bacon in the Super Bowl season. It's like, did Brock Osweiler save Peyton Manning, or could any serviceable backup around the league have done that? I tend to believe it's any serviceable backup in the league, especially considering the entire body of work we have for Brock Osweiler tells you that he sucked.
Right. That's
So-
a good point.
So
outside of that,
is Josh Johnson a 1-2 quarterback or an 0-3 quarterback? I don't even think it matters.
Yeah.
I think it just comes down to how did that game break? Is Brett Rippon a 1-2 or an 0-3? Well, all I know is he's a 1-0. But in the end, I really don't think it matters. It doesn't matter if you have Josh Johnson. I looked at the Super Bowl teams from last year. That's not always the best way of doing it. Collectively, this is why they were in the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They had one backup start in the season. It was Brandon Allen. He lost the game.
yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I saw John Walford for the Rams. He didn't start any games, but this isn't exact, but I'm pretty sure he was 5 for 23 in his action.
Oh,
Wow.
no way.
Yeah, no
Wow.
touchdowns, multiple interceptions.
Oh, that is tough.
So it doesn't. You have to be healthy to win the Super Bowl, especially a quarterback. And I'll be honest, if the Broncos, touch wood here, lose Russell Wilson for 3 games, 1-2, you're probably out of the race anyway.
Yeah, you probably or you're out of whatever you were going for. If it's a wild card, you're out. If it's the AFC West, you're out.
Yeah, maybe you fall out of the AFC West and into the wild card.
Right.
But even then, I don't really think you can afford to lose him for 3 games. I think you probably miss the playoffs if you lose him for 3 games.
And isn't that one of the great things about Russell Wilson is his availability? He's missed 3 games in his NFL career, and they were all last year. It's just like Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning never missed games until, of course, he missed an entire season with neck surgery, but people would just point to that. And it's like, wait, let's look at the rest of Peyton's career where he didn't miss
Yep.
games. That's one thing Russell Wilson has.
Yep, totally.
And there's no reason to keep a young guy either in that spot. Like, it's
right,
not like
you're not like developing
No.
the future.
Because why? Because in 5 years, when Russell Wilson retires, now you have a 31-year-old Brett Rippon ready to potentially take that job. Like, no, that's not a timeline we need to be worried about. Just get who's ever the best or best for the culture or whatever this year.
I mostly want to keep Brett Rippon around just because I think he's eventually going to become a coach, and I just you want him to basically go like the Kellen Moore route.
Yeah.
Just player, coach, player, QB coach, eventual coordinator. I think that's what his career has out for him.
Really following the Kellen Moore path.
Yeah, all the way from
Boise
Boise
State.
State. I think he won more games at Boise State than Kellen Moore. No, because Kellen Moore, I think, retired as the winningest college quarterback ever.
So that would make it tough.
Yeah, it would make it tough.
Well, Brett could have topped it, though.
Yeah, but I think it was. He didn't.
I think those teams were better. The Kellen Moore teams.
Yeah, they were. They were.
Yeah. Something you can do right now, speaking of college ball, you can bet $5 and win $200 over at DraftKings Sportsbook. $200 in free bets. All you have to do is place a $5 bet on any team to win in college football, and regardless of what happens, win or lose, you get $200 in your account in free bets, and you get them in 8 $25 free bets, which makes it really fun to disperse the money to different places. And man, that's just going to make week 1 of college football, week 1 of the NFL season so much fun. And if you do it right, if you do it next week, you can be betting later that day on college football. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get $200 in your account over at DraftKings Sportsbook when you place a $5 bet on a college football team. Let's go DNVR over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
And if you don't have a bunch of time to take a bunch of pills and that sort of thing, but you want better gut health or you want more energy, or
Saturday night, baby. All
Yeah,
I got is
that's-
time to take pills.
That's what I'm
There you
thinking.
go, yeah. Or if you want to optimize your immune system, or if you want to be more adaptable, then get in with Athletic Greens because it will help you do all those things. It has 75 different vitamins. It has a bunch of minerals. You just take a little scoop out of the bag, shake it up in your water bottle.
You take it out of what?
I knew it.
He heard it on himself.
I did. I hate that I'm aware of that
Yeah,
now.
I wasn't gonna say it until you just threw that smile on.
Yeah. You scoop it out of the bag.
There we
you have
go.
to say it like a sheep, and then you put it in the thing. You shake it up, you drink it, and it solves all your problems. Like I said, it's packed with good stuff. And if you sign up right now by going to athleticgreens.com/Broncos, you'll get 5 free travel packs and a year's supply of immune-supporting vitamin D. So do that.
Do you think Athletic Greens could solve your car problem right now? You said it solves
It
all your
doesn't-
problems. So like you having 300 cups in your car. Do you think?
What, like put in the gas tank?
Yeah,
That
I
doesn't
don't-
seem like it would help.
I don't know. Maybe it'll give you the energy to like go out to your car and clean it out.
Ooh, the thing is, so again, like I have to park a couple blocks away from where I live. I have to park a couple blocks away from the bar. There's no garbage near me, and so you wind up going to get coffee every day on the way to camp, and you just don't book out the time to be like, okay, time to drive over to some place that has garbage. I don't even know where I go. So yeah,
So it's
Well,
nicely-
today you parked pretty close to the dumpster, so hopefully
It's
when
true.
you leave here, you can.
He's
I
giving you
did.
some tips right now.
I
secretly,
did. I'm
very
gonna go over to
publicly.
the dumpster. The dumpster. Okay, trip to the dumpster after this.
All right,
There we go. There we go.
Anyways,
Speaking of trip to the dumpster, should we check our fantasy?
yes, this is weird because usually we had to wait till Monday for this reveal, like because we weren't doing post game shows. That's how long ago that was.
Right.
So weird. So let's jump in right now, Henry. First, I guess, can we bring up the graphic, Allie? Do you have it handy of our teams?
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. We'll bring up our teams, and then we'll have Henry reveal the scores.
The number 1 overall pick was Brandon Johnson. Brandon Hung Young Johnson.
Yep.
How did he do?
Oh,
One-
you edited it.
One catch.
11 yards though.
Yes, 1 catch for 11 yards. That is 2 fantasy points, baby.
2.1.
2.1. We're getting into the decimals.
Oh,
We
okay,
got decimals today.
okay.
We got decimals today.
What were touchdowns worth for quarterbacks?
6.
6. Okay, love it. Love it.
Okay,
Love
good.
it.
That
I
was the
remember
one that came up.
We had this argument last time. You were
Yeah,
like, no,
you-
it's only 4. And I
No,
was like,
you were a 4 guy.
No, there's
I've
no
always
way.
been a 6 guy.
No, there's no way. Maybe I made it 4 because it like helped my team win.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Typically, I'm a 6
Surprised me
guy.
at all.
Yeah.
All right. It should. Okay, we're close to having the graphic
We
up.
are close.
All I know is, here we go.
The one that is
That's fine.
That's good.
Whatever one is fine. All right, here we go. Here were the teams. After our draft, I did take Hung Young Johnson, number 1 overall. It was mostly just for the content. I thought maybe he might score a touchdown. Did not happen.
No, he did not.
But I did get some late touchdowns. So we'll see how I did here.
Oh, yeah, it's Albert.
If I had to guess, Zach won. No, sorry. Henry won, me 2, Zach 3.
Man, with that last minute touchdown, I think you're right.
It didn't take the last minute touchdown.
Blowout.
No.
So in third place, we've got Zach.
Oh no.
29 points. Second
Yikes.
place, RK. 41.8 points.
Wow.
29 and a half of those in the second half.
Let's go.
Wow.
baby.
Real
I said it on
comeback there.
Twitter. I said
You
minor
did.
setback, major comeback.
Yeah.
I took
Not
first
big
with
enough.
47.7.
Damn.
Yep.
You know what? F you, Sean McDermott. He lied to me. He said a healthy amount.
I-
One series, bud.
F yourself.
They came out
man.
healthy.
You believed the coach of the
It's
preseason.
true.
You never everything a coach says to you is a lie.
It's true. Yep, he did lie to me.
Zach had the worst pick of the draft with Kendall Hinton. 4
Oh.
targets, 0 catches.
0. Oh, he drew 2
Yep,
penalties,
he did.
though. That should be worth like 15 points.
He did. Zach Moss. No, Duke Johnson was the high scorer. Those 2 touchdowns
I got him
did
with
it.
my last pick.
Wow. 17 and a half
Wow.
points. I had Zach Moss. He was second, 13. OJ Howard and Eric Sauerbert both at 10. Yeah.
Wait, who's your quarterback?
Matt Barkley, 2.6.
2.6, so none
So
of us
who
took
won?
Case.
Where do you think you won this on wide receiver depth?
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Shakir had 9. Isaiah Hodgins had 6. Jalen Virgil had 6.
Yep.
So I was just very consistent throughout there.
Yep. Man, what a terrible performance. So Hank, that means
How did the law firm of Johnson and Johnson? How many points did they combine for?
So let's see. Johnson had 2.7. Johnson had 17.5. And Johnson had 2.1.
Oh,
So wait, which
So
Johnson
about
had
21.
17?
Duke.
Duke.
The
Oh,
2
yeah.
touchdowns.
The Bills Johnson.
Yep.
You hate to see that.
He's a big Johnson.
He is a big
was.
Johnson.
He was the Hung Young.
Biggest Johnson today, that's for
I don't
sure.
think he's young anymore.
No, I don't think so either.
All right. That's sad. But good job, Hank. You have a slight lead going into next week. You will set the draft order next Thursday.
Yes.
Shoot, yeah. Is this a carryover too?
Yeah. Yeah, you're in trouble.
You got some work to
do. Oh no.
aggregate.
Not good.
I've got 3 touchdowns on you right now.
Oh man, and you've got 2.
Yep. Didn't need Eric Sauber. Duke Johnson did all the work for
I'll
me.
sell my points to you guys. So
I will
better
buy.
Come to me.
Yeah. We should have established what the champion got before, or what
Yeah,
last
we
place had
we
to do.
definitely should have.
Nothing now. Nothing.
Damn.
I've seen some crazy things that people are making their last place fantasy people do.
Is the Waffle House one now like a very
That's like
established
low.
thing?
That's like easy work.
Wow. Do you hear of the 12 hours or the 24 hours?
24.
24. Oh,
Yep.
jeez.
That Zach would go the full 24.
You would. You get through half a pancake and call it.
You just be like, you guys have like Wi-Fi. I have to work from here today.
Oh, that would be miserable. I think I'd go 7 p.m. till
7 p.m.
Minus
I
an hour.
don't-
Minus an hour of cake
I
though.
think it'd probably have to be
waffle.
like 10.
See, I think I would want to get there at midnight. And just like hopefully they don't notice that I'm sleeping through half of it.
That's true.
Just eat enough pancakes to just send me into
No.
a food
Yeah,
coma,
yeah,
fall
yeah.
asleep, sleep like 6 hours.
Yeah. You
Wake
could
up
lock
for the rest
yourself
of
in the bathroom and be that guy sleeping in there.
Thinking about being in one place for 24 hours really puts into perspective how much jail must suck.
Oh God,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
jail would really suck.
So yeah, let's all avoid jail.
Shout out anyone listening to jail.
Yes, that's
Shout out jail.
I think that's possible.
Yeah, it's
it?
possible.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Allie, do we have any super chats we need to hit? All right, and if you guys want to get in super chats, we probably have a little space for you
Heck yeah.
here at the end of the show to read your questions. So bring them in.
We have got one here saying, gotta sign
Sue.
Sue.
Gotta sign Sue. Okay, this is what I mean. I've always been for signing Sue, but today didn't change that in any way. Like, he wouldn't have played even if he was on the team.
Yeah, it's very true. However, Deshaun Williams was playing, and I thought he was going to be a good piece. Now, it doesn't mean that he was bad today. It's all on him, because I'm sure if he was surrounded by better players, he probably would have looked a little bit better.
And that's my other big takeaway is, like, a lot of tweets. I know most of, maybe all of them were sarcastic, but it's like, oh, the Broncos will be fine this year as long as they don't have any injuries.
Right.
And it's like, that's not exactly how it works.
Yeah.
Like, Alex Singleton didn't have a good game, but if you put Alex Singleton behind the first team defense, all he has to do is just like go fly around and make tackles. We know he can do that.
Right.
Didn't look like it today, but we definitely know he can do that. He's proven it with the ones at the NFL level. And maybe Joe Schobert is the same. Maybe I'm being too hard on him. But if you had to trot out that defense in a game, you're done. But if you have to put one of those players into a situation where you can almost scheme around them and just say, like, hey, do this one thing well and, we'll take care of the rest. It's not that. It's not like that. It's not like all these guys are bad at football.
Right, exactly. So the starters would help all of these guys individually. Maybe, I don't want to say outside of, but I mean, the corner depth is something that does scare you a bit. Now, I do like what Damari Mathis has done in the past, but man, you just wonder when Ojemudia is going to be bumped down and Damari's actually going to take that backup corner job.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if Ojemudia was cut. Like, that's how bad it's been lately.
Or put on the trade market, tried to get a 6th or 7th back for him.
Yeah.
If
you're
they turn
able
on
to,
that tape,
it's going to be tough.
yeah.
Yeah,
It is gonna
I
be tough.
completely agree. It would just, what you would be selling is a former 3rd-round pick that has battled some injuries, and you hope a team can flip him.
No more 3rd-round corners.
No, please, no. George Payton, learn. He did this past year, though. He learned.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
Yeah.
he did. 1st-round corner.
Yeah,
Good idea.
good.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
But I'm down for Ndamukong Suh, regardless of this game, kind of like you said.
Right, and like I said, if he was here, he wouldn't have played.
Nope,
Yep.
nope. Can you
That's-
imagine? He's the only starter playing. I
I also
think
saw
he
someone
would be
like,
okay with that.
I've been saying, like, trade for Roquan, another player who, if he was there, would not have played. Nothing would have been different.
Nope.
If you did get Sue, though, you'd be stacked. I mean, that we're talking like potentially best defensive line group in the NFL. Like with him, the two Joneses starting, then Purcell and Deshaun Williams off the bench.
That's not best unit in the NFL.
You're feeling good about your team.
You feel
Of like
more
the
confident.
3-4 groups.
You're putting a lot of faith in Draymond Jones that I don't necessarily
Okay,
have.
that's fair.
I know DJ Jones is good at what he does, and he can be consistent in that way. And I know that Ndamukong Suh would be the same way. But I don't even know if it would be top 5, to be honest.
Would the Broncos have a game wrecker
No.
among those three?
That's the thing about the 3-4 though, is that you typically don't. I guess you like there's Aaron Donald in a few of them, but there aren't
Yeah.
that many. But then
Chris-
you still
Chris
have
Jones
Deshaun
is-
Williams and Mike Purcell, who should be starters coming off the bench.
Mike Purcell, weeks ago, we weren't even sure if he was going to make the team.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. And
After that, I mean, he might have been able to just like get boosted up just by seeing what the other groups looked like out there. It's just like, remember, Mike Purcell was part of the solution to the atrocious run defense the first 4 weeks of Vic's first year.
You're right.
It was Mike Purcell and AJ Johnson who came in, and it was like, wow, why didn't those guys play the first 4 weeks?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And you wonder just how much maybe Mike Purcell benefited the most of anyone today from not playing.
Yeah. And I guess by not playing tells you how they feel about him.
Exactly.
All right, next one now.
We got Seth here saying, a worker at Empower Field loved my DNVR Let's Ride shirt, asked me where I got it. Of course, I hooked him up to the DNVR locker. Civic duty done.
Heck
Nice.
yeah, I love it.
There's a
Can we
big
put it
sale
on
going
that
on
now?
too.
I put it up there.
Yes, there is a big sale going on over on the DNVR locker.
Oh, great point. Summer sale up to 90% off some styles. But everything's discounted in one way or another. So if you're looking to stock up, get over there. We're also, they unfortunately won't be a part of this sale, but they wouldn't have been even if we released them this week. We got some new Broncos stuff coming for the season.
Oh, heck yes. And by the way, Seth Stewart, we absolutely loved seeing you rocking the Let's Ride shirt at Empower Field.
Was he serious when he didn't know who The Weeknd was?
Yeah, no, I think he did not know who The Weeknd was.
But he played a Super Bowl halftime show.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
You'd think that would do it.
But if you're not into that music, and you're into football, isn't that when you leave and go to the bathroom, get a beer?
Yeah, I've talked about this in Super Bowl week, but like I can't change my routine. So like I don't pay attention to the halftime show. I don't pay attention to the commercials. I can't. I'm not physically capable of it. Like I'm wired a certain way. It's to not pay attention to the commercials and get something done during half. Today I took a shower during halftime.
Wow, that is impressive. So then you knew about the Weeknd before the Super Bowl, or else you wouldn't have known about the Weeknd.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My mic was lowered, so that's a fail on me, but I'm just going to read Seth's chat again. Worker at Empower Field loved my DNVR Let's Ride shirt, asked me where I got it, and of course I hooked him up to the DNVR locker. Civic duty done.
There we
For
go.
all the
Heck yeah.
podcast
Spreading the love.
listeners.
Love it,
Sorry
Seth.
about that. Okay, and then we've got another one here from
Doughboy.
Dahoy.
Dahoy.
Just to push Williams and Purcell to backups.
What?
He was the
To
one
get
who
Sue.
said the Sue.
Oh.
So then you're cutting any?
No.
No, you're cutting Purcell, and you're saving money. Especially you're
yeah.
cutting Purcell if you're gonna sign Sue for $10 million.
So then that dream's probably dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it only cost you $8 million then.
I mean, if you like Purcell enough to not play him today,
Yeah. It's a good point.
He's good. He's good at what he does.
he is good at what
So
he
then
does.
I guess what they're saying is they would cut Deshaun.
I think we cut Purcell in our first 53.
I think we did too.
So there you go. There's one of the big risers since the first week of camp.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Good for him.
Or you cut it, Jim. Did it again.
You just cut some guy named Jim.
Just find a Jim. Cut Jim.
Yeah, I
cut a
mean, he would
jib.
definitely be gone in this.
Yeah. So you could keep both the rookies if you kept 7.
All right.
And
any
all those
other,
guys.
Yeah.
That'd be a
7.
lot, though.
Yeah.
But then
That is it.
That's it.
anything else that you wanted to discuss from this game that we missed?
Josh Allen signed Russell Wilson's jersey. Russell Wilson signed, well, I guess his jersey, gave it to Josh Allen, vice versa. On the jersey that Josh signed to Russ, he hashtagged Let's Ride.
Oh,
boy.
that is dominating. Like
It is.
It couldn't
Yeah.
have worked out any better
No.
for Russ.
No,
And-
it's incredible.
And he does not care that it became a meme.
Nope, because now the Broncos are treating it as very serious. In fact, after they score a touchdown, they have the Broncos flags that go out. It's BRONCOS.
Yeah.
And then before and after, there's a Let's Ride flag that does that. The Let's Ride, I believe, is on the big banners outside of Empower Field
Yep.
at Mile High.
One says Broncos country, other one says let's
They're
ride.
giving away like the car stickers or whatever.
Yep.
Let's Ride.
Exactly.
Game 1.
It's sponsored by Jiffy Lube.
Are
or
they
something
paying
like
him
that.
for this? Like,
Well, and so that's the
What's going
thing.
on there?
Whether they're paying him or not, regardless,
Well-
he's just getting free marketing from a $5 billion organization.
Yeah.
actually, it might be the other way around because they definitely own the trademark on Broncos country.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure he trademarked Let's Ride. So maybe they're just collabing on it.
Yeah. I mean, benefits both. And now you just have all these other people just blowing it up for him.
Unbelievable.
It was cheesy as hell.
I thought you were going to say Russell Wilson signed Josh Allen's jersey for him.
That would be hilarious.
He's like, "Yeah, jersey? And Russ is like, yeah. He takes his jersey, signs it, hands it back to him.
That would have been great. Now, do you want a picture with me with you wearing it?
Oh, so great. All right.
We do have Cody here saying, tell RK to stop trying to mother Henry over his messy car.
Yeah.
Mother Henry.
There are a lot of Let's Ride trademarks.
Really?
Oh, but
Yeah.
are they like the same or are they different?
Well, like there's the one with the 3 at the end.
Oh, yeah. We have that one.
Oh, hell
Do we?
yeah.
Wow.
We put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
We absolutely did.
Is it current owners? Yeah, yep, that is us. That is us. That is our trademark. I found our trademark.
Yes, I thought you were joking.
No.
Wow,
Yep.
that's amazing.
Oh, so Let's Ride, just straight up the typical way. That is registered to Jefferson A. Bates, who lives in Washington.
Oh.
So that's gotta be Russ. That's gotta be Russ.
Or unless a fan, right when Russ said it the first time, was like, I'm going to make Russ suffer by grabbing this.
I mean, that's how, like, a little inside baseball, that's how we made the Let's Ride shirt and had it ready the day that Russell had his introductory press conference, because I heard him say it in that video. I know that he always has a tagline at the end of everything he says.
Yep,
I'm like, oh, this is his new tagline. Let's make a shirt.
Beautiful. And then so you got the 3.
That wasn't me.
Okay. Fair. Yeah, I love it.
That same guy has Go Broncos Let's Ride.
Yep.
But he doesn't have Broncos Country Let's Ride because Broncos
can't.
Country is already owned.
It's from the Broncos. Wow.
Go Broncos Let's Ride sounds dumb.
There's
Hey.
also just like random Let's Rides, like the Georgia Department of Transportation
Oh
has
my
theirs, and I guess there's no crossover.
They're probably like, damn it, we had this idea first.
Star Cycle franchise,
Wow.
because I guess because you don't what they do with them
cycling.
doesn't. Yeah. So like they have the
makes
cycling
sense.
Let's Ride,
Yeah.
which it's a good time to have that.
It is. The Let's Ride business is a booming.
It is.
All right,
It is.
let's ride right out of here and into our weekend. Appreciate you guys riding along with us today. And I mean, if you watched this, you're a true homie, because I'm sure a lot of you turned the TV off and decided to go about your day. So we appreciate everyone who tuned in with us. Hit us with a thumbs up, even if you didn't feel that way about the game. Hopefully you felt that way about us.
We did have our DNVR Nuggets crew joining us at the very beginning from some bar probably in Serbia.
Oh,
Wow.
hell yeah.
Wow. I hope they have better things to do.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. We will catch you guys on Monday on the DNVR Broncos podcast.